All right, welcome to the North Fork Experience, the podcast where we explore the journeys of exceptional individuals and businesses shaping our communities and industries. I'm your host, Kirk Hays, and today we have a passionate, dedicated realtor from Keller Williams Empower who brings a unique blend of Philadelphia local insight and extensive concierge service experience to every transaction. Please welcome Anicka Brown.
Hi, everyone.
Anicka, it's
Thanks so much.
fantastic to have you. Let's dive right into your North Fork experience. Anicka, you bring a strong background in concierge services from both the healthcare and business sectors. How does that experience, where the focus is anticipating needs and providing personalized attention, translate into your ability to deliver results and build trust in the real estate journey?
It's a great question, and it ties hand in hand, honestly, because first you're understanding and putting yourself in the consumer's shoes or the home buyer's shoes or anyone that is in need of some form of service. So just being able to be human and put yourself in their shoes and understand what it is that they want and what their goals are to help them get to that next step.
Yeah, I think that's super important. At the end of the day, you guys are selling houses. You might be connecting a first time home buyer with a house or an investor with an investment property. But really, this is about people and about communication, and understanding what that person wants and what their needs are. And then, once you have that understanding and you've communicated that, it's then that you can, work with them to really put them in the situation that works best for them.
That's very true. Yes.
So you state that integrity, courage, trust, and respect and quality are the foundation of how you live and work. How do you ensure those core values are not just buzzwords, but are actively demonstrated in every client interaction, particularly when navigating difficult negotiations?
Yes, all of those core values tie into building trust and building a relationship. And that's what I do. I'm not here to just sell you a house or help you find a house. All of my clients, whether I assisted them and supported them in purchasing a home and selling them a home 6 months ago, a year ago, 2 years ago, they still get a phone call from me saying happy holidays, checking in and seeing if they need anything or if I can help with anything or just having a conversation. We did spend a good amount of time together while working and getting them to achieve their goals. And I've learned a lot about them just by building that relationship. It's very important to instill those core values.
Yeah, the key word you said there is trust. And, when you're working with clients like that, building that trust is so important. So they have the trust in you to put them in the best situation that's going to really benefit them the best, or, find the best property for them, whether they be or, have that ability to, if you're working with sellers, you got to be able to find that right buyer for them. So trust is just so critical. And, putting in that effort that really shows that you're doing the work that makes them have that trust in you.
Yes.
So your journey into real estate was fueled by a desire to become your own boss and build meaningful relationships. What is the biggest difference in mindset required to transition from working in a structured corporate environment to becoming a successful self-employed realtor?
Yeah, the mindset shift is that you are you're not working a 9 to 5, so you have to get up and make it happen every single day and be all in to what you're doing. That's very important, and sometimes it can be a little bit difficult when you're working a 9 to 5. You have that set day and time that you need to be at work, opposed to being an entrepreneur or business owner where you can set the snooze button and say to yourself, I'm tired this morning. I'll just, take. So just having that mindset of just being all in, and that the only way that this will work out is if you put the work in.
Yeah, that's such an important factor, is being able to put in that work. And it is such a transition from, working in a structured environment there. A little background on me, I come from the oil and gas industry, and that line of work, it was, I wouldn't want to tell you how many days I worked more than 20 hours in a work day, but you're working in a structured environment there. Whereas when you make that change, it's all about you, having the ability to, like you said, not hit the snooze button, to get yourself out of bed, to push yourself, even if it's little stuff like making an extra social media post, or you just never know what that little thing is that can push you over the edge and be a key factor for yourself and your clients. But you always have to be willing to put that effort in when you're outside of that structure. It definitely becomes a little bit more difficult. There's more distractions to slow you down too.
Definitely. And I think another thing to tie into that as well is just remembering what your why is, because it's not just about me, but it's also about my family and friends as well. So if you have that why, it's like, okay, now I have other people counting on me and not just myself. It's easy to let yourself down, but when you think about the other people that are involved, It's like, no, you know what? Let me just get up and get out there.
Yeah, that's such a great point there, and that's such an important factor, and can really help you be the difference in putting in that work versus taking it easy for a day or so.
Exactly. That's very true.
So, a key goal for you is empowering others to create generational wealth. What is the single most important piece of advice you give a first-time home buyer to ensure their purchase serves as a foundation for future financial growth?
What's most important, what I love to talk about is not just the interior and exterior of the home, but also the reason why you should purchase a home. And it's the wealth building behind it. And when I go into those aspects of appreciation and building equity, it just gives the home buyer a different insight of why they're doing it. Your ability to purchase a home is not for you to just raise your children and build a life inside of it, but it's also giving you the opportunity to leave the home to your child, or be able to build that equity to pull out more funds to then get a second home or invest in real estate. So I love speaking about the wealth piece of buying a home and what that could bring for them and their families in the long run.
Yeah, you keep bringing up really important words in each of your answers. There, some great answers, and I think equity is the big one in that one. So a lot of people just don't understand how that equity growth works. When you get yourself into that that dream of home ownership, that equity that you're building, it can really compound over time too as the housing market fluctuates, and maybe you want to make a change down the road, and that the house that you're in might be worth significantly more than you paid for it up front. And that equity that you built through that house can really help you out long term, and can really create generational wealth at times too if you play that right.
Yes, that's very true. So that's one of the biggest pieces that I touch base on in the beginning stages of things, and then we can get into the fun things about what it is that you want and need inside and outside of your home. But having a clear understanding of the wealth aspect is important.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a great point for sure. So you serve a diverse client base, including investors, first-time home buyers, and out-of-state buyers. What is your strategy for maintaining deep market expertise across these varied needs, particularly when dealing with multifamily properties?
Yes, so we utilize a great number of systems. So just keeping really strategic updates on what's happening in each market for each individual is important. And then touching base on multifamily properties, it can be very diverse in different areas. So understanding what that cash flow would be for that investor, understanding how much they could possibly make each month from rent payments, just giving them an understanding of what their return would be after purchasing the property.
Yeah, I feel like that's probably one of the more difficult things for you guys. A little bit more about my background. I live in Western Pennsylvania now. I grew up here, but I actually spent a year living in the Philadelphia area. And when I was out that way, I lived out in the suburbs, and everyone kept telling me, "Oh, it's changed so much in the last 5, 10 years." And I'm sure that was almost 20 years ago now. So I'm sure in the last 20 years it's changed substantially too. So I'm sure it's difficult and takes a lot of work for you guys to really stay up on those market trends in those specific zip codes, especially. So I know, from area to area, if you go a couple miles down the road, it can really change
Yes.
property values. It can change, school districts. It can change so much different stuff. And you guys really have to be up on each of those different factors that can really add to what your buyers and sellers, experience in their transaction there.
Yes, definitely, definitely. And I mean, there's not just one situation that's the same. It's, almost always different too. So just being able to pivot to ensure that that next person is having a clear understanding of what they're, going to get.
Yeah, and that circles back to one of your first answers there with that communication, and that's just the most important part. Communicating with those buyers and sellers and see what really is important to them, especially the buyers, to see what area they want to get into, what school districts they might be interested in, and it goes a long way to ensuring that they have a lot of trust in you.
Yes. Yes. Communication is huge. Want to make sure
Absolutely.
that it's clear and it's constant, and that your client is able to get in reach of you.
Yeah, perfect for sure. So you refer to yourself as a partner, advocate, and lifelong friend to your clients. How does maintaining this long-term relationship perspective fuel your referral business, ensure you are top of mind for future transactions?
Yeah, it fuels it. I guess I can really just start from the beginning stages of when I first meet my clients, and it's just really setting that tone and that clear understanding of, hey, we're not just going to be building a relationship just for during the time frame of you purchasing the home, but this is going to be even afterwards. So it's just staying top of mind, reaching out and seeing if they need anything, if they have anyone that may have any real estate needs, wishing them a happy birthday, happy holidays, just little touches, really. And also, we after they purchase the home, we send them over what is called a market report, so they can keep updates on the value of their home. And that's just another piece as well because they're seeing my name come up again in the email.
Yeah, what a great idea. Those little touches really can go a long way to keep you top of mind. And you never know, it really can work out for you long term too when they're looking to, get into another property, or they have a friend, that might be, hey, they're finally in a position to buy their own house. They say, hey, I had a great time with Anicka, and this is someone that you really should look into. So those are all great ideas for sure.
Yes, definitely.
So, as a proud Philadelphia native, how does your unique blend of local insight and knowledge of the city's vibrant areas help you to educate and guide clients who may be relocating from out of state?
Yeah, that's a great question. And it's just being able to know the areas and being able to know other people that live in those areas as well. And then, of course, providing factual information from market data as well.
Yeah, an interesting point there that I don't really think about, but you being that local person, just knowing the people that live in those specific areas can really give you a good head start on, what might be happening, if new jobs are coming into an area, you get that grassroots feel for those little areas that some people might not get without those deep relationship connections that you have with the Philadelphia area. So that's a really good way to look at that, and I can see the importance in that.
Definitely.
So you believe the process should be fun when buying a house. How do you maintain a positive, enjoyable experience for your clients while still maintaining the high stakes stress that often accompanies buying or selling a home?
Yeah. So some of the things that I do is positioning them to know that we're going to be handling everything and that you have a team on your side. It's not just me. I do have a transaction coordinator. I'm going to make sure that I am in good communication with your loan officer if you're obtaining a mortgage and also the title company as well. So we want to make this process as stress free as possible by taking on pretty much everything so they don't have to worry about it because we don't want them to take on another job on top of their job that they already have.
Yeah, absolutely. It's so much about taking away stress for the buyers and sellers. So, and it goes back to that, them being able to have trust in you, them being able to refer you down the road when the time comes, if the process is stressful for them and they can't enjoy the process, you're not getting that call when it's time to buy
That is
another house, or when they have someone to refer. So that's just a really important thing, and trying to take care of those little things for people and making the process go as smoothly as possible for your clients there.
Yes, definitely. And also just touching base again with the, out of state home buyers or sellers as well. They can't be here to take on everything. So if we're able to take on that for them, that's always a great benefit to relieve some stress that may be coming from the transaction itself.
Yeah, absolutely. When you're not able to meet face to face all the time, they might have, they're buying from a little bit further away. You have to have that extra special care to make sure that they're getting everything that they need when you can't sit down and be across from them like that. So, you can see that how important that is as well.
Yes, definitely. That extra care.
Yep,
Yeah.
absolutely. So, looking ahead a little bit, what key trends or shifts do you anticipate in the Philadelphia real estate market, especially concerning the demand for multifamily properties and investment opportunities?
Yeah, so as we're coming up on the spring and summer markets, we're definitely going to see some additional inventory, which will allow some leverage for home buyers that are looking to purchase a home this year as well, and then also some more multifamily opportunities as well. We did have a little dip in interest rates too, which buyers are always happy to see, and home sellers as well, because then there's going to be more home buyers coming onto the market too. So hopefully we can get them to stay in that lower rate or trickle down a little bit more.
Yeah, absolutely. It's always nice to see those rates come down for you guys. It just makes things a little bit easier, and you can fit a little nicer home into your client's budget there. And I'm sure it helps you guys out quite a bit there when you're
Yes,
going through
definitely.
that process.
Yes.
So talk a little bit about how you integrate technology with your team and with the some of the advances coming in like AI. How do you anticipate technology changing the real estate market in not only Philadelphia, but across the the state and the country for realtors?
Yeah, definitely. AI is such a cool tool. It'll allow for real estate agents to be able to educate themselves a little bit more and also just make the process a little bit more simpler for the client as well. We do utilize like AI coaching calls for our agents on our team. So it's just being able to have better conversations. So we're taking that time to build that. And also with utilizing AI across, in the entire region in the real estate industry, I don't think it's going to take away the actual agent, but it will just make it a little bit more easier to make sure that we're supporting and handling everything for our clients.
Yeah, I think that's one of the big things, with technology being what it is, everyone worries about AI taking jobs, but especially for you guys, I think that you're extremely safe. It as we talked about the communication thing, it still takes that personal touch when you're connecting someone with a home, and I don't think that we're in a position where AI is going to take that away anytime soon. But what AI does do is it enables you guys to have more knowledge, to bring more knowledge to your clients, and you can get that knowledge a lot faster than you used to be able to. It's, with all that information that at your fingertips, so to speak. So it really just makes you guys more efficient in connecting people with the right property, in my opinion.
Yes, and I definitely agree with that. I don't think AI is going to, take the agent away anytime soon, but it would allow for us to be more efficient.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's an important factor. It's, that, you're not going to lose your job to AI, but you might lose your ability to be a realtor to an agent that's using AI because they're just more efficient than you are. So it's just one of those things that you have to adapt to. So, growing up years ago, everyone had to adapt to computers. And I just kind of look at it the same way. I'm sure some people didn't feel like they needed to adapt to computers, but they probably aren't working anymore because everybody has to use computers. And I feel like AI is going to kind of be the same way where, you might be able to hold it off for a little while, but at some point you're going to have to make that adaptation and use it to your advantage to stay relevant.
No, and I completely agree. And that's why we are taking the steps to ensure that we are very knowledgeable when it comes to utilizing AI to make the home buying process or the home selling process easier and more efficient, like you mentioned too. So just making sure that, we're confident and educated on that piece. And also it's going to just allow for us to provide better services.
Absolutely. Yep. Can see that for sure. Well, Anicka, this conversation's been incredibly insightful. It really showcases your dedication to integrity, your strong business acumen, and your passion for empowering others. Your North Fork experience offers powerful lessons on building a business through genuine partnership. Thank you so much for sharing your journey with us today.
Thank you, Kirk. I really, really appreciate it and enjoyed this call.
Before we wrap up, for our listeners in the Philadelphia area who are looking for a dedicated realtor and partner to help them achieve their goals and build generational wealth, what's the best way for them to reach out to you and learn more about your services at Keller Williams Empower?
Yes. So the best way is always either calling or sending a text message. So my direct cell is 267-58079, or you can search my name up at Anicka Brown, Anicka. And we also have a website, Anicka.Brown at the Premier Home Team too. If you're on social media, my Instagram is Anicka B Real Estate. We can connect on there as well.
Absolutely. We'll make sure we'll include those details in our show notes for easy access. That's all for this episode of the North Fork Experience. A huge thank you again to our incredible guest, Anicka Brown, and thank you all for tuning in. Until next time, keep exploring, keep growing, and keep experiencing all that our communities have to offer. Thank you.
Thank you.